What's up, guys? Another short lesson for today on just the basics of bass fishing. How do you even structurally, functionally do this? It's all great that you're out here telling me about lures and stuff, but how do I go do this? So this is just another tip, is how to store your rods and reels and move around with them, particularly if you're putting one of them into a book bag, like I showed you in episode 11, or if you're putting these into a compact car. If you're a teenager and you're watching this, you probably don't drive a Ford Excursion, right? You probably have something relatively small and fuel efficient and affordable. And that's great. That's exactly what you should have, which is exactly what I had when I was a teenager too. I had a little small sedan. And unfortunately, I've made a huge mess out of all my rods and reels, putting 4 or 5 rods and reels into that car. And I've got a huge mess, and I kill half an hour trying to untangle it all, and it's all really, really frustrating and irritating. I've also broken some 7 and 7.5 foot rods trying to put them into a compact car. And I've also accidentally rolled the window up because I did the thing where you put them out the window and then it's noisy and you forget about them, so you roll the window up and then you break your rods. Anyway, I've got a tip for you. I will actually show you how to put these into a compact car, because there's kind of a methodology to it that if you do it that way every time, you won't break your rods. But anyway, let me first show you how to keep them from all getting tangled up. So I've got a 16-inch worm on here. That has nothing to do with this lesson. It's only so you can see it on the camera when I'm standing away from it. So I'll do this with a couple of different rods to show you, but let's start here. So first things first, do not back the hook out of the worm. Push it forward out of the worm like that. This particular rod has a little place for you to hook lures on it. So on this one, I'm going to use that. I'm going to hook it in, put the hook in that little keeper, engage my reel, get it tight. Not tight enough that it bends the rod over. That's a mistake. Just tight enough to where the line's kind of tight, just taut, but not enough to bend the rod, okay? And you're about to see why. So, again, staggering complexity here. Go up to the first eyelet. Take the line that is attached to the worm, okay? Then you're just gonna pull it out away from the rod a little bit, and then wrap it. And let it go. And that way, a lot of the messes that you get when you're putting into a car, if you're throwing everything in the back of the truck or whatever, is lures getting hung up in the line, or the line getting tangled up in each other. So every time you wrap one like that, then all the line is held down by the wrapping, okay? So it's all nice, it's much more tidy, a package, sorry, that low battery. Now, let's say that I open my passenger side door and I slide that in, and I set that into you set the reels and these rod tips into the passenger side floorboard when I set it down. So I'm gonna set it down in that car. Now let's say I've got another rod, another 7-footer with a slightly different rig. If I put these two lures in the exact same place on the rods, these are both 7-foot rods, so I know those lures and hooks are going to be all over each other, right? So how I cured that is, if I did one lure kind of halfway up the first section of rod, on the next one, this is a speed worm I was catching fish on yesterday, I'm going to hook it onto the reel itself. So all I did was push the hook out of the worm a little bit, hooked it onto the frame of the reel, just tight enough to where it's kind of taut, not enough to bend it. I'm gonna go up about halfway up the rod, pull that line out, start wrapping it. And all you gotta do when you're ready to go back off the water is pick it and unwrap it, and then you're ready to roll. Like that. And now, these two 7-foot rods are going to sit next to each other in the car, but notice that the two lures are not next to each other. They're not hung up on each other like that, okay? This one here cannot hang up into this reel because the hook is up in the frame of the reel, right? And likewise, this hook can't get caught up in either of them either because it's 2 feet up the rod up here, okay? And then what you'll do is take them. Like I said, I'll show you this on a video. Open your passenger side door, and this is where you'll break them if you're not careful. Slide them in and put these in the floorboard of the passenger seat. And then you don't have windows rolled down, you don't have lures and rods hanging out of windows and everything else. They're not laid across the back seat or through the center console or anything like that. If you just do it that way, then you won't have problems with it. I hope that clears some things up. Let me show you how to do treble hooks. I did this because I was putting them in a truck. If you do this in a car where you've got a lure with a whole bunch of treble hooks hooked up here on the rod like this, it will get caught in your car seats. It will get caught in your car seats. And you can't get them out. You'll end up having to cut a slice in the car seat to get the barbs, get all the barbs out. So it's going to ruin your seats, or you'll end up cutting the hooks, and you'll have to replace the hooks. So don't do that. What you should do, if you've got crankbaits, topwater baits, anything like that, cut them off. Just cut them off, put them back in the box, and all you're gonna do is just tie a knot. So, where my scissors are. I cleaned up all my fishing gear to do this video, and I don't know what I'd do with my scissors. Anyway, so really simply, you don't even have to undo it. So I'm just gonna cut that lure off and tie the tag in around the first eyelet. I just tie a couple little overhand knots there. I cut that little bit, tie on my lure, and I fish. That's it. These things will get caught in your hands. They will get caught even in the tie downs in your truck, anything. These treble hooks get hung up on everything. Get caught in your hands, the upholstery of your car, your leg, your partner's leg. Your partner gets in the passenger side that you're going to fish with, and he gets caught up in his leg or whatever. Just cut it off and put it back in the box where it goes. Just tie it off to an eyelet, and then put your lure back on when you're ready to fish. A Palomar knot on a lure like this takes you about 2 minutes to do, maybe. So just go ahead and take the 2 minutes. Believe me, having a bunch of treble hooks caught in your friend's leg or caught in your car is more of a pain in the butt, I promise.